Hello, and welcome to the Motor City Kitty Network. My name is Fair, your trash diving panda. I'll be covering the Detroit Lions and their quest to make it to the playoffs this year. My format will include the good, the bad, the ugly, and the absolutely insane takes and plays on the Lions and how their season is progressing. I apologize for not covering week one. I was too busy digging through the trash to find the items behind me to give you a much more enjoyable viewing experience. But let's dive into it. Since we missed week one, we're going to go on ahead and do a special double cover bonus feature on this, and we're going to start with the Rams. Let's go on ahead and get into this. The good. Even though Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta were non-factors in this game, the rest of the Lions stepped it up to take their place. With JMO, Gibbs, and Montgomery showcasing what the Lions can really do, showing the grit and the heart of this team. JMO with his breakout game that everybody has been waiting for and expecting to see. Montgomery and Gibbs doing what they do, piling on those yards on the ground and getting the Lions down the field. Alright, folks, let's move on to the bad with our Detroit Lions. The defense, working as a complete unit, it seems to be off still. Don't know why, don't care why, just know it needs to be fixed. The secondary, when they actually get good coverage, the D-line does not get to the QB. Yes, there are pressures. Yes, there are a lot of them. But against the Rams, they were not finishing the job. Stafford was able to get off his quick little passes when the secondary wasn't doing their job. And when they were doing their job, Stafford was able to scramble around just a little bit to get to his players. It's a problem that needs to be fixed, and I'm sure the Lions will work on this in the weeks to come. Alright, let's go with the ugly here. That being, this was basically a preseason game for both teams. You could see the field rust as they went out and they started playing. Once the game got rolling, you could see connections pick up. Stafford to Kupp, Stafford to Nacua, and then, of course, the injury to Nacua. Not a pretty thing. Did not want to see it happen. This game was rough from beginning to end, and I'm sure both teams wish there was a lot of stuff they could take back. But they will be cleaned up and the teams will move on and get better. We are going to do an honorable mention for an insane. Jameson Williams going for over 100 yards in the opening game of the season, proving to a lot of doubters, namely SOL fans, that he is here and that he will open the tops on defenses. Jameson Williams is a dog, and he has the grit to prove it, and he will continue to prove it as the season continues. Let's get into the insane of this. The Lions O-line showing their dominance the entire game, pushing the opposing team's players down the field 5 yards without any problems. This was especially relevant in the overtime victory. The Lions O-line opened holes and gaps big enough to drive a bus through, and Montgomery ran down the field, looking like he owned it the entire way. The Lions win in overtime. 26-20 over the Rams was a great victory, but there are plenty more that need to happen. Alright, let's go to the Bucks game, where we'll cover the good now. The Lions put up the yards. They had the passing game. They had the run game. They had the defense. Everything was firing on all cylinders, except the red zone. Beyond that, the Lions controlled this game from beginning to end in every aspect possible, except getting into the end zone where it mattered. Speaking of the red zone, the Lions were there 7 times throughout this game, only cashing in on 1 of those 7 times. The Lions, known for their hard ground and pound game when it gets close to the red zone, did not show up at all inside the red zone on this game. Where was the ground and pound? Where was the team's grit? Speaking with the red zone, let's get to the ugly. The coaching decisions. Nothing could have been farther from what the Lions normally perform as. The ground and pound game was not there, as I mentioned. It seems they went away from their usual tactics, instead trying to rely on the throwing game. Jared Goff throwing for an unusual amount, 55 times. Relying on Jared Goff to be an amazing QB is not going to work for this Lions team. All the trips to the red zone, no ground game. Where was Montgomery? Gibbs was all special trick plays, little toss-outs. What was Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell thinking during this time? And now let's move on to the insane that was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Baker Mayfield Godwin connection. They set the tone and kept the pace going for the Buccaneers to their eventual victory last Sunday. Honorable mention goes to Aiden Hutchinson with his 4.5 sacks. In conclusion, the Lions beat themselves this past Sunday against the Bucs. The coaching decisions, the QB decisions were all very subpar. No other way to put it. The Lions did not rely on the run game. They did not go to their grit side of their format. Will this be changed in the weeks to come? We hope so. We know the Lions are a much better team than this. But on recount of what we have seen, these first two games remind me a lot of last year. Recall, against the Kansas City Chiefs, we were a very close game, 20-21, with the Lions coming out on top. Then we faced the Seahawks, went to overtime, and lost that one. This year, we went to the overtime with the Rams and won that one, and now lost a very close game against the Bucs. This one was poor management decisions by the coaching staff. The no field goal before the half set the final pace of the game, for if we had gotten that field goal, it would have been a field goal for victory at the end. Going forward, I hope the Lions learn from this lesson, and if anything, this coaching staff has shown they always learn their lessons, even if sometimes they're from the hard way. Thank you for watching the Motor City Kitties Network. I'm Fair, the dumpster diving panda, and we'll see you next week. Please like and subscribe, and leave some comments and let me know how bad I did. I know this is rough, but I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to get better. Thank you.